For a child, when they say no to something, no matter what it is, nothing can fully coerce them into turning that no into a yes. It takes years to condition that confusion into a human being. Matter of fact, a large part of that process we call education. Now, that is not to blame education. Education is the place where a lot of these things occur, but it is not the fault of education. It's actually a whole societal mechanism. If it was just the education system, then kids would see their parents acting in a certain way and the spell would be broken. They would immediately assume, okay, well, this is what happens in school, but when I grow up, I get to live by my yes. The problem really is that so few people in our society truly live by their yes and truly mean their no, that the children don't have role models for this. They get born into a society that largely lives in the stress nightmare of maybe. Play with it sometime. Spend a whole day, a whole 24-hour period, just saying no, just for the fun of it. And see how shocking it may be to some people, even to the degree that they may not fully be able to hear what it is you're saying. You can play with this. The primary focus is on our yes. The yes is where the real juice is, the power, the force. The yes. We recognize when our body gets alive even by thinking about it. And before we take action, that'll come later. First is just the recognition. Once you have a deep connection to your yes, then it's really, really easy to recognize the power of your no. Your no protects your yes. To get a yes that has true power, there must be some virtue attached to it. Now, virtue is a very broad term. However, virtues are universal. Compassion, wisdom, kindness, courage, conviction, gentleness, humor. There are many, many different expressions of virtue. And we'll find that there's certain types of virtue that we are particularly tied to. Every human being has some connection to virtue. When your yes is tied to a virtue, a truly universal virtue, it has a completely different level of power to it. It's more than some hedonistic expression. That has some energy. I mean, at least it's your body going. At least it's something to recognize the pleasures of life. But that's not where the real yes will come from. This yes is more than about momentary pleasures. This yes is the key to lifelong happiness today. This yes is tied to the benevolence of existence. This yes is tied to service. It might be outrageous, it might not be right in the socially conventional sense, but there is something genuinely good about our yes. That's the way we get to have a handle on it. That's the way we get to connect to it. As we start to connect to our yes, just the connection by itself fills us, and fuels us at the same time. It brings us a degree of aliveness. Then we learn to recognize that the no protects our yes. Much like you would protect a young sprout that will eventually become a great tree. We begin with baby steps. We begin by reclaiming the simple, elegant path to our own spiritual, physical, emotional, life-promoting system of decision-making, which is inherent in each individual human being. This yes, this passion, this aliveness, this inherent path in each human being comes with it a genius. This genius can be expressed in our service, in our livelihood, in any number of ways. But this, I assure you, you can make your living doing that which fills you with the most joy, and, not coincidentally enough, you will be extremely successful at this. Your passion will fill you with a brilliance. Your joy will affect other people. You will have success and fulfillment at the same time. When you follow that course of aliveness, of extreme joyousness in giving that which you find most joyous to give to those who are most grateful to receive. Ultimately, I believe that this is how the world truly works, and that our current economic social system, let's just say, has been a mild experiment in confusion. It doesn't really work. We know it doesn't work. We know there's no way you can build an entire economic structure from people who are doing things they absolutely don't want to do. There is no way you can engage in a stress-based activity and expect health and wealth in the years to come. It just doesn't work that way. Now, there's something beautiful to hard daily work. It doesn't mean hard as in stressful, just hard as in you play hard, you work hard, you rock hard. It is good to put in a full day. That is important. There are no shortcuts here. You have to do the work. It don't need to be work if you're really passionate about it. See, if you're doing the right work, it won't feel like work. I guarantee you, you find the thing you're meant to do, you'll work 20-hour days you won't even notice. Truly. Truly, it's true. But no matter how much I pay you, you will simply not be able to sustain even 12 hours a day doing something you absolutely don't like. There is no way to sustain it. You won't be able to do it. You might be able to grudgingly get your way through 10, 20 years of it, but at a great cost. Whereas on the other hand, especially in our new economy, which you will notice that jobs are quite as abundant as they've used to be. And there's reasons for this. The system itself is breaking down, and by necessity is being replaced with a far more intelligent way of doing things. One that requires innovation, one that requires a lot more effort and energy. It used to be if you did a good job, you'd get good rewards. That's no longer the case. Do a good job now, you might not keep your job. You need to be doing an exceptional job just to be getting good rewards. And the real rewards are for those who are the best of the best of the best at what they do. This is the time. This is your time. When you connect to your yes, you will see opportunities you did not see before. You will find an enthusiasm, a level of energy you didn't have before. You will find a way to succeed with your yes that you never could before with your maybe. And when you connect to your yes, you will also find the sense of self-worth enough to say no to things that you know perfectly well are not acceptable. You will start walking away from the relationships that do not serve you. You will start walking away from the clients and the jobs that don't serve you. Instead, you will find more and more opportunities to serve what you love giving to those who will be most grateful to receive. Doesn't that sound like a better way? And it's really not that complicated. We begin first with yes and no. We'll touch upon these virtues. It's really mostly common sense, you'll see. But first, even before the virtue, we reclaim our yes. We learn to protect our yes with no. And then we start seeing the way to take action, the ways to move forward. We see the ways that we sabotage ourselves. And ultimately, we start to find a very basic but simple formula known as dream seeds to reality blossoms, also known as law of attraction, co-creation, so forth. There are many different ways of getting at it, but it's totally common sense. As a matter of fact, it's the way things work, and you do it all the time. You just may not have seen it in this particular way. It's been a great pleasure. This is quite the adventure. Part of my yes has been to share these tools, share these ways, and share the rather extraordinary experiences that come when people start living on a daily basis their yes and no. It's been a great pleasure, great honor. Make sure you stay hydrated. It's important. In the next chapter, we'll be going right into yes and no, going into it in some beautiful and elegant detail with homework in the end. The second chapter we playfully call the Know How Yes Law. We'll probably have a black set. Might take some explaining, but it'll really explain why people do not stick with their yes, why they fail to protect with no. The third chapter is Dream Seeds to Reality Blossoms. Really simple. You know it perfectly well already. As a matter of fact, you'll start to notice that these are the type of lessons that any 3-year-old could explain to you. The only difference is a 3-year-old would not be able to comprehend how you manage to live day to day without knowing these things. I myself have suffered the woes of forgetting my yes and no's. And it hurts, let me tell you, it really. There is nothing more painful than being confused about who you really are, about what you're here to do. I feel it, have felt it myself through much of my life, mainly as I watched other people attempt to live without their yes and no. But there were those times when I myself, in the attempt to fit in the attempt to be loved and accepted, I myself gave up my no and my yes and lived a life of enormous suffering and mediocrity, entangled in the insanity of a society that has forgotten its way. I've been there. I've suffered. Lord knows I've suffered. Many of us have suffered. What I'm here to tell you is there is a reason for your suffering. There is a reason why you've been suffering. I honor that many of you do not have the lives that you want. And yet at the same time, I'm here to tell you, you can have the lives you want. It will not happen necessarily overnight. I'm not ruling that out, but I'm not guaranteeing that either. What I am guaranteeing you is that the crazy dream that our entire society has been living under is falling away. People are waking up. And as people wake up very naturally and spontaneously, they begin to follow their passions, to live their life with genuine virtue. They start recognizing what is not acceptable about life, and they don't give it energy. They naturally create, day by day, a life that is truly fulfilling and successful by their own terms. This is the new reality we're entering. This is the new economy. It is actually already upon us. What I'm telling you is, you've been right all along. You've known all these things all along. You've always known there was a better way. I'm here to tell you you were right. And I'm here to remind you of exactly what you need to be doing in order to get back on track with the course through this life that only you can live. I'm not here to teach you something you don't already know. I'm simply here to encourage you to reconnect with your own innate intelligence, your own unique genius passion flow. We do this by connecting to your yes and to your no. That's where it all begins. I look forward to seeing you guys in the next chapter. Much love and light. This is Kiril Ravensong, signing off.